What's going on, everybody? I believe we are just a minute behind. I try to get it as on time as humanly possible, but I'll blame it on Minnesota weather. That's what I'll do. I'll blame it on the Minnesota weather because people get all panicky. But we made it. How's everybody doing? Welcome to week 15. Welcome to fantasy playoffs. We have made fantasy playoffs. And even if you didn't make the playoffs and you're going to be trying to avoid a league punishment, it matters. Week 15 still matters, regardless of who you're playing, if you made the playoffs or not. So let's get on into some of your start and sit questions for the week. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to you all. Deckers, I just want to say thank you guys for the season. Because of you, I got the second seed in my league, got the bye. Hey, let's go. Very, very, very good to hear. Happy to help you along the way. And let's keep helping you out to bring home the ship. Trevor, good morning to you. See your question here. Do I pivot to D-Hop or Najee instead of starting DK in my flex position? Worried since DK hasn't done anything the last 3 weeks. It's a valid question because, like you said, DK has been not great recently. I think if you want to pivot, your option is going to be Najee, just because DeAndre Hopkins is very much a risky play as well. But the thing is, with Najee going up against Philly, I'm not really sure I really want to. I mean, I think it's fair to say, like, Najee against Philly versus DK in Green Bay, I don't think there's a great answer for both. I think you could go Najee if you really want to. I feel the pain with DK. I've got him in a league as well. I have to start him. Not feeling great about it. So, baseball shorts, good morning to you. Elijah got the 1 seed because of you guys. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go. And 11 PPR. Are we going Bucky or are we going Neighbors? We're going to go Neighbors on that one. I don't want to take the risk with Bucky Irving and his health. I think he is active today. He will play. I would not be surprised if he's not going to get as many touches as we have seen the last couple of weeks. So because of that, I would go Neighbors on that one. Calvin Ridley, Ryan Thomas. I'm probably going to go Calvin Ridley on that one. I know going up against Cincinnati, like, there's some room for him to have some kind of success. I think with Brian Thomas, yeah, he did get a decent. He produced pretty well last week with Mac Jones, but we are talking about the Jets this week, so Mac Jones is not my favorite play this week. And is Kenneth going to play this week? It was just reported as of like 5 minutes ago that he's doubtful or that he is for sure going to be out. So I would, if you've got Kenneth Walker in your lineup, go take him out right now because it doesn't sound like he's going to play. Kelly on Facebook, Thielen or Marvin in standard. At this point, it's a matter of just who's going to score, right? Or who's going to have the most amount of yards. So I think who's going to score? I mean, Marv, Arizona, going up against New England. I might start Marv on that one. I think Marv can score this week, and I think yards are really going to be. I think you go Marv on that one, Kelly. Trevor, thanks for all the help. Went from not making the playoffs in one of my leagues to the 8 seed and making it. Then the other league got the 1 seed and bye. Hey, that's what we're talking about. Let's go. Happy to help you along the way, Trevor. Happy to help. Cooper the dog, my dog. Good to see you, my guy. Tony Pollard, DK Metcalf in the flex. Pollard is going to play. He gets Cincinnati. Man. My worry is that Cincinnati gets up big and then Tennessee just abandons the run. So I'm probably going to go DK on that one. I know that it's like a favorable matchup for Pollard based on metrics and stats and all that stuff. Cincinnati could get ahead early and stay ahead. So I Not a huge fan of Pollard this week. Baseball shorts, my running back room is Brees, Sharp, Sincere, B-Rob, Spears, and Miller. Is this okay going into the playoffs? I think it's all right. I think with the Kenneth Walker injury, it could at least give you some kind of boost. So, at least this week you can ride, Brian Robinson going up against the Saints, and then you can go Zach Charbonnet, right? I think that's very fine. And then Brees, maybe he's 100% healthy next week. I think it's fine. I think we're going to panic, though, if Brees doesn't perform, Kenneth Walker comes back, and then you're going to be relying on Brian Robinson and Sincere McCormick, which, I think that explains it. Riz Kick, start 2 and sit 2, Lad, Mike Evans, DK, or Devontae Adams. Thank you. Great question. Lad McConkey, I believe he's going to play. I thought I saw something that he was going to try to test it out today again. So let me confirm that, because I don't want to tell you to start a player that may not play. So let's do this. Let's head on over to our handy dandy. Is listed as questionable as sources say the team is optimistic he'll have a real shot to return against the Bucs. Interesting. Personally, I think you go Mike Evans. And then I think you go Devontae Adams, because Devontae Adams has been on an absolute heater as of late. Excuse me. Going up against Jacksonville, I think you go Mike Evans, and I think you go Devontae Adams. I think that's the way to go. And the beauty is, too, if, you get further, pretty sure Chargers and Bucs are later today. Let me confirm that. I feel like it's a 12 o'clock. Maybe it is a later game. It is a later game. Cool. So if you get further news about Lad and you feel better about Lad closer that you get to 3:30, you can just swap Lad and Evans out just because they play each other, right? So my vote would be Evans and Adams. Ryan over on Facebook, James Cook or Tank Bigsby? It's an interesting question just because of James Cook going up against Detroit, Tank Bigsby going up against the Jets. I think we still go James Cook here just because he's got some receiving upside and he's going to get touches versus Tank Bigsby. Should maybe get touches, if that makes sense. I think you could look at it from that standpoint, but I think as the other part of the two is it's the starting Buffalo Bills running back, and what is the highest point total according to Vegas on the year? It is 54.5. Earlier this week it was 53.5, so it's only gone up. I think you go James Cook still, just on the chance that, hey, he's going to find the end zone in a high scoring game. Kevin, my guy, good to see you, my guy. Marvin Harrison, Downs, or Tyrone Tracy in the flex. Currently have Marv, but hard to trust. I think it is hard to trust. Josh Downs coming back does make it a little interesting. I do worry that it just may not be a good game at all for the Colts, right? Going up against Denver. I would still trust Marv over Downs. Tyrone Tracy going up against Baltimore is a big yikes. I think so. It comes down to Downs and Marv for me. I'm still going to go Marv. I don't really feel great about it. I get it. I think that's just the right move, though. Henry, pick 2 between CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, Brian Thomas Jr., and Jalen Waddle. I would say CeeDee Lamb for sure. And then I'm going to go Cortland Sutton. I know DJ Moore just had a great game against Minnesota 2 weeks ago. I'm going to go Cortland Sutton and CeeDee Lamb. I think that's the play there, because DJ Moore, not the same kind of upside that Cortland Sutton and CeeDee Lamb can give you. So Jason over on Facebook, would you start Pollard or Breece Hall? I'm probably going to go, gosh, these are two guys that I see super, super similarly now, because not only because of Breece's injury, but with Tony Pollard, like I mentioned earlier, Cincinnati gets ahead. Tennessee might just abandon the run, right? That's the risk with Tony Pollard this week. So again, you can look at metrics and stats and be like, you know what? Tony Pollard is a really good matchup, which he does. And I mean, Rico Dowdle just ran for 100 against them. But the thing is, if Tennessee can't keep it close, they're going to abandon the run. So I think what I'm going to roll with here is I'm going to roll I'm going to roll with Brees. As risky as that is, I'm going to roll with Brees because my worry is, again, Cincinnati getting ahead. Tony Pollard is virtually out of the game script. I shouldn't say out of the game script because he'll add in some receiving work as well. But I think Brees is going to have the best chance of staying the most involved today. Joe over on Facebook, 2 of 3 in PPR. We're going to go Evans, Addison, or Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is interesting. I think we're still going to trust our studs. I know Addison has been money as of late. I'm going to go Evans and St. Brown. Just because I think with Addison specifically, right? Last week we got the volume, right? 12 targets. We also got 3 touchdowns out of the guy. Just against Chicago 2 weeks ago, 8 receptions, 9 targets, 162 yards and a score. Boy, is this one tough. Chicago pretty much went all out to stop Jefferson last week. Man, I'm still going to go Evans and Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I get why you asked because Addison is such an intriguing start. I think Evans and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think that's the way to roll. If you change your mind right before 3:30 and go Addison over Evans, I get it. I think the one for sure that stays in is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Joseph on YouTube, pick 2 out of Malik Neighbors, Jerry Jeudy, Bucky Irving, Najee Harris, or Isaiah Pacheco. Interesting question. My initial 2 right off the rip are Malik Neighbors and Jerry Jeudy. Bucky Irving with his injuries, I'm not super high on. Najee Harris against Philly, also not super high on. Isaiah Pacheco against Cleveland. Also not the biggest fan. I like Pacheco more than Bucky and Najee, though. I think Neighbors and Jeudy are the 2 that we're going to roll with there. Dylan on YouTube, Tony Pollard, James Conner, Breece Hall, or Zach Charbonnet. Pick 3, and then Garrett Wilson or Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy against Kansas City. I'm going to roll Jerry Jeudy over Garrett Wilson on the receiver. And then for your running backs, you're going to go Zach Charbonnet. You're going to go James Conner. And then between Tony Pollard and Breece Hall, I said Breece. Earlier because someone asked that earlier. I'm too scared. I think Tony Pollard could absolutely cost you your week this week because, again, Cincinnati. Here's the thing with Cincinnati, right? They let teams, or every game has been close, but their offense throughout the entirety of the year, I mean, all the way back to when they played Philly, right? They scored 17, but the following week they went 41, then 34, then 27, then 38, then 27. They put up points. And this Tennessee offense is not like some of the other offenses that they've played, excuse me. I mean, Pittsburgh better than Tennessee, Chargers better than Tennessee, Ravens better than Tennessee. That's my worry. I'm going to go Breece then for your running back. So James Conner, Breece Hall, Zach Charbonnet, your running backs, and then your receiver is Jerry Jeudy. Trevor, keep hearing about this weather in Cleveland. Do I take the chance and start? You know what? I think I made that mistake too, now that I think about it, because I keep thinking that game is in Kansas City. So let me. I don't know why I keep thinking that game's in Kansas City. It's in Cleveland. That definitely makes a difference. There's a chance of rain all day. Trevor, thank you for that. That was a great catch because now it makes sense. I would go Garrett Wilson then. Thank you, Trevor. Dubs in the chat for Trevor because that is a crucial catch. I literally talked about this with the other fellows earlier this week. I was like, why are people not in on Jerry Jeudy this week? And they're like, it's in Cleveland. It's like, oh, that makes sense. But then I forget about it and think it's in Kansas City. So Trevor, appreciate you putting that in the chat. Mr. Mayo, I need you to pick my 2 starting receivers and 2 starting running backs as well as my flex. So I'm making your lineup for you. I have Brees Hall, Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Rico Dowdle, receivers Garrett Wilson, MHJ, Sutton, and Adam Thielen. Interesting. Your two running backs, I am going to go with David Montgomery, and I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs. Rico has also been hot as well. I would understand going Rico over David Montgomery just because Rico's going to get more touches than Montgomery. But like I said earlier, just with that high scoring game, if I've got a piece in that game, I'm probably going to start them just because on the chance that they score in this game. Your receivers, I'm going to go Cortland Sutton and Garrett Wilson. And then in your flex, it's a coin toss then between Rico Dowdle and Adam Thielen. I'll let you decide that one between Rico Dowdle and Adam Thielen in your flex, but your receivers, Garrett Wilson and Cortland Sutton, your running backs, then Montgomery, Jacobs, coin flip then between Dowdle and Adam Thielen. Sergio on Facebook, 2 in the flex for this week, Brees, Marv, Stevenson, or Thielen. Ramondre getting Arizona isn't the worst. Do I like it more than Marv, though? That's tough. I'm probably going to say Thielen and Brees on that one. Thielen and Brees feel like the two there. If you don't trust Marv, though, if you don't trust Brees, I'm going to go Marv. But my two would be Thielen and Brees. Sorry, Trevor. I missed your question in that comment about the weather as well. Start Mahomes or Baker Mayfield. I am honestly going to say Baker Mayfield. Baker's tough matchup. I prefer the tougher matchup for Baker over the weather potential with Mahomes. Teams on YouTube, Bo Nix or Tua. Man, Tua's been red hot. We're going to go Tua. Tua has been in fuego this year. Or I shouldn't say this year. Over the last 4 weeks. In fuego. Josh on Facebook, good to see you, buddy. Who are you riding with the rest of playoffs? Cup, Marv, or DK? Honestly, I'm still going to go Cup. I know it's not been great the last 2 weeks, I think it is. The last 2 weeks. Maybe he had a good game between his two duds. I think Cup is going to be the one to give you the most, I don't want to say consistency, but Cup is going to be the one that's going to give you the most reassurance, I think is the best way to say that. Dylan on YouTube, Richardson, Baker, or Rodgers. It's still Baker for me. Between two tough matchups, right, for Baker and Richardson, I'm going to go Baker still. Rodgers, I'm not. Rodgers is pretty much out of the equation at this point. Also need you to pick the tight end, Mark Andrews or T. Swift. T. Swift as in Kelsey. Because if it's Kelsey, I think you still go Kelsey. I know the weather and all that, but you still go Kelsey. Cologne Lover on YouTube, Cortland Sutton, Garrett Wilson, or Jared Judy in half PPR. If you choose one, it's going to be Cortland Sutton. If you choose two, it's going to be Garrett Wilson, Cortland Sutton. Football Harry on YouTube, James Conner or Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs. Don't get cute with that one. Don't get cute with that one. DJ Moore, Adam Thielen in half PPR. Probably DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore just a little bit more than Thielen this week, even though I'm, a huge Thielen fan this week. DJ Moore, I still like just slightly over Thielen. Joe again on Facebook. How about some tight end love? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about some tight ends. Njoku is out, so I picked up Freiermuth versus the Eagles, but also have Ferguson versus Carolina. I think you roll with Ferguson. Gosh, do I really trust Cooper Rush? So that's the thing. Oh man, do I really with Cooper Rush versus Freiermuth with the Eagles? You know what? Let's do this. How have the Eagles done versus tight ends this year, or at least over the last month? Let's say they've been kind of, touchdowns. They're allowing the most touchdowns that's why they're giving up so many fantasy points to tight ends. I think you can go Freiermuth. I think you can. I feel like they're like, I will say in my rankings for the week, Freiermuth was lower because Pickens' status was still in the air. Now that Pickens is out, I think that bumps Freiermuth ahead of Ferguson, if I'm completely honest. Baseball shorts, great question. How severe is Kenneth Walker's injury? Will the Hawks just shut him down rest of the season, and will Sharp still be involved? For back-to-back weeks of missing action, I don't think there's any way that Sharps isn't in the picture when Kenneth Walker comes back. Because maybe actually, let me start with this: the Seahawks will not shut Kenneth Walker down. They are leading their division. They are right in the mix for the playoffs as well. So even if they don't win their division, they are right there then with Washington and the wild card. So the Seahawks are definitely not going to shut Kenneth Walker down. And when he comes back, he is going to be the lead back. But I think with also how Zach Charbonnet has been performing, you can't you can't keep him off the field entirely. But Sharps does regress to that handcuff role or value, then I'll say, in fantasy. So I wouldn't say it's severe. I wouldn't say Kenneth Walker's injury is severe. But I think because of other circumstances around it, it will come across as severe, even though it really isn't, if that makes sense. Drew on Facebook, Mahomes or Herbert for this week. We're going to go Justin Herbert. Going up against Tampa. I know it's not been great, but Mahomes in Cleveland, Kansas City not really doing anything on offense, or not doing a whole lot on offense, I should say. I think we go Herbert over Mahomes there. Jacob on YouTube, DK or Elijah Moore. Fantasy football in 2024. I'm not laughing at your situation. That's just how crazy fantasy football has been this year, that we're talking about DK Metcalf or Elijah Moore. We're going to go DK Metcalf still on that one. Elijah, pick 2 between Kamara, Lamb, Higgins, Neighbors, or McConkey. Worried with Kamara recent production and Derek Carr being out is a bigger deal than people realize. And since you've got good options as well, I think if you're going to pick 2, I think the 2 that you're going to pick are CeeDee Lamb and T. Higgins. I think those are the 2 that you pick there. Baseball shorts, but if Shards has been playing better than Kenneth Walker, then why risk him getting re-injured? Which is, I get that, but I wouldn't necessarily say that Sharps has been playing better than Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, when he's been healthy this year, has elevated that offense. So I get the thought process there, but you're not going to just sideline your starting running back just because your other running back is doing really well. It would make sense if you're a team like Vegas, right, with Sincere McCormick and Alexander Madison, right, where Madison is still, he's still injured, but Sincere McCormick has been doing really well. That Madison, how do I say this? You're in a position as a team to afford to not force a mid-tier running back into the mix. Does that make sense? Kenneth Walker is very, very good at the football. Okay, let's not get that mixed. Let's not get that mistaken. So I hope that makes sense, baseball. I think that I hope that makes sense. L. Jack on YouTube, Terry McLaurin or DJ Moore in PPR. Well, Terry McLaurin now going up against New Orleans, DJ Moore against Minnesota. I think we go Terry on that one. I think we still go Terry. Barry on Facebook, JSN or CeeDee Lamb. Boy, both of these guys are kind of back-to-back in my rankings. The Green Bay matchup isn't the best for JSN. I'm still going to lean CeeDee Lamb on that one. Thank you. Of course, I got you, buddy. JT on YouTube, Malik Neighbors or Jerry Jeudy, Scary Terry or T. Higgins. Interesting. To be completely honest, if you can start, I would start Scary Terry and T. Higgins personally. Those are the 2 that I'm going to start. I hope that like both of these are like for your wide receiver and your other wide receiver spots in your lineup. I'm honest, I would do Scary Terry or T. Higgins, but if they are two separate leagues, I'll answer that for you. I would still do Neighbors over Judy. I would then do Scary over T. Higgins. Colin on YouTube, good to see you, buddy. Choose 3: AJ Brown, Mike Evans, Jordan Addison, Garrett Wilson, or Josh Downs. For sure can rule out Josh Downs. So then between AJ Brown, Mike Evans, Jordan Addison, and Garrett Wilson, I think you go AJ Brown for sure. I think you go Garrett Wilson. I think you go Mike Evans. I think Jordan Addison and Josh Downs are the two that are out. That's what I would do. Gatorade Cup on YouTube. Hopkins, Neighbors, Sincere McCormick, Brees, or Braylon. Pick 2 flexes. I'm gonna do Brees, and I'm gonna do Brees. Brees and Neighbors. Brees and Neighbors. Josh on Facebook. Garendo or Brees rest of playoffs. I also have Jacobs and Bijan. You know what? Now that you bring up Garendo, I mean, he did play. Actually, let me do this. My leaning is going to be Garendo. Garendo played. Yeah, he was fine. I would go Garendo rest of the playoffs. But you also have Jacobs and Bijan. So to be completely honest, you're going to rank it like Bijan, Jacobs, Garendo, Brees. And they're all like top 20 for sure and pushing top 15. I think you're in a very, very good spot with your running backs there. Jared on Facebook, Tracy Hopkins or McConkey in half PPR. Lad on that one. Sounds like he should play, but if he doesn't, if McConkey doesn't play, again, let me reiterate this. It sounds like he will play. But if you're gonna have oh gosh, man, you're gonna go Lad. Zayo, what's up, my guy? How you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you. I got a question. Who would I start between Jonathan Taylor, Ramondre, and Darnell Mooney in full PPR? Boy, Jonathan Taylor against Denver is kind of like Ramondre more than Jonathan Taylor. That is a pickle. That's a pickle and a half. Darnell Mooney, Monday night against the Raiders. I would go Ramondre. On that one. JT, Scary Terry, or T. Higgins. Interesting. Between the two of them, probably going to go Terry. I'm going to go Terry on that one. Wall Street on Facebook, Mark Andrews or Jake Ferguson. I'm going to roll with Mark Andrews. I just don't have any confidence in Jake Ferguson with Cooper Rush for the rest of the year. Elijah, wouldn't Kamara be the centerpiece of the offense? And why would Higgins start? Why would you start Higgins over him instead? Great question. So we saw this earlier this year where Derek Carr, let me pull up. Derek Carr was out from week 4? No, week 6, week 7, 8, and 9. Oh my word. Derek Carr was out week 6, 7, and 8. In that stretch of games, Alvin Kamara, as I pull this up here, Alvin Kamara was the running back. Where is he? Where was it? I had the stat from earlier. It was the running back 21 in points per game. So, yes, Alvin Kamara is the centerpiece of the offense. He has been, but the quarterback play makes a difference for Kamara. Because with Derek Carr, it was significantly better. And I know in recent weeks, it wasn't super great with Kamara. But I think the biggest, and that's not to say that like you need to sit Alvin Kamara at all costs. I think it's just because you have a guy like T. Higgins that is good enough that you can take those two out and you will be just fine. If it was, a question between like Alvin Kamara or like Brian Thomas Jr. or something like that, I would still go Kamara. But since T. Higgins is just that good, I think you can go T. Higgins over Kamara. I hope that makes sense. Cup edits on YouTube, pick two between Tyrone, Rashad White, and Travis Etienne. Boy, not a huge fan of Tyrone Tracy really like at all this week. Going against Baltimore, that's not good. I think you go Rashad White for sure. And then it's really between Etienne and Tyrone Tracy. Gosh, I'm probably going to go. I would probably say Tyrone over Etienne. It doesn't sound right? Tyrone Tracy on the Giants going against Baltimore. But Etienne in a game that Jacksonville could keep close. I'm gonna go Tyrone and Rashad White on that one. Gustavo on YouTube, Bo Nix or Kyler Murray. I think you go. I would say you go Bo Nix going up against Indy. Kyler is right. Like they are. I was about to say 1 and 2. They are not 1 and 2. But in our rankings this week, according to the fellas, Bo Nix is our QB8 and Kyler is our QB9. Like they are right next to each other. My preference is Bo Nix. You could ask Lucas and he would say that Kyler is his preference. I think there's no wrong answer. I think this is the best way to say it. I think just Bo Nix has just been the hotter hand. That's my leaning. Cameron on YouTube, Auden Odunze, Xavier Worthy, or Quentin Johnson in the flex. For me, it's going to be Rome Odunze. That one's going to be Rome Odunze. Weston on YouTube, Joe Burrow or James Winston. Go Joe Burrow. Go Joe Burrow. Cup edits again on YouTube, Bo Nix or Sam Darnold. Now, this is also interesting because Bo Nix, like I said, our QB8 on the week. Sam Darnold is our QB7 on the week. And I still prefer Bo Nix over Sam Darnold. You could ask Lucas and he would say that he likes Sam Darnold over. He likes Sam Darnold over Bo Nix. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. I would just say, my vote is Bo Nix, but if you go Sam Darnold, I completely understand it. Elijah, another quick follow-up. Why not McConkey or Neighbors over Higgins since they're my wide receiver ones? Sure. But Neighbors with Tommy DeVito, not a huge fan of. I think there's more of an argument for Ladd over T than Neighbors over T. I know that, again, when you think about like wide receiver ones and wide receiver twos on the depth chart, it makes sense. I get where you're coming from. But T. Higgins has virtually like demolished the wide receiver 2 spot just because that offense passes the ball so much. So I think T. Higgins in a game against Tennessee, I think T. Higgins is still the play. But if you go Ladd over T. Higgins, I get it. I just know with Higgins, I would say Higgins has a higher floor than Ladd just because with what we've seen in that Chargers offense the last 2 weeks, right? Just by looking at Justin Herbert's fantasy performances. And now that's not like the most like indicative or the most like, that's not the most, it doesn't paint the biggest picture, but the floor now for the Chargers offense is significantly lower at least we've seen that over the last 2 weeks. So that's my argument for Higgins over, Kamara, Higgins over McConkey, Higgins over Neighbors. Jack Philly, Cortland Sutton or Devontae Adams, a pick 2 between Kamara, Chase Brown, and Bucky Irving. Receiver, you're going to go Cortland Sutton. I know Devontae has been red hot. I think Cortland Sutton, though, is still the guy. And picking your 2 running backs, you're going to go Chase Brown and Alvin Kamara still. there's too much risk for me with Bucky Irving this week to start him over those other two guys. Calling on YouTube for the flex, B Rob, JSN, Jonathan Taylor, Darnell Mooney, or DJ Moore. For me, it's going to be JSN still. All of those guys, I can kind of like nitpick something. If I had to rank it for you, I would go JSN, I would go DJ Moore, and then Brian Robinson. I think Jonathan Taylor, Darnell Mooney are off the table, but my vote is JSN there. Noter, I think that's how you say it. Noter on YouTube. Should I start CD or Marv? You still go CD on that one. Yep, answered that one already. Elijah, thanks for all your help. Had lots of questions this week. See you next week. That's what I'm talking about. Again, if you guys are not subscribed or following us on wherever you're watching us from, make sure you are, because we do this every single week before kickoff. We are posting content still in the middle of the week to help you with fantasy matchups and all those different kinds of things. And then when we hit the off season, we do draft talk. We do Dynasty fantasy football stuff. We do not stop once the season stops. So again, if you enjoy our content, if you enjoy the advice, make sure you're following us. Josh, I've been seeing your comment. I've been trying to get to it. So let's do it now. Stacking defense for the playoffs. How do you feel about Arizona against New England and Carolina, then Indy against the Giants? I can pick up the Bucks going up against Dallas and Carolina the last 2 weeks. Worthy droppable for the defense. I got D-Hop. Worthy is definitely droppable. Defenses, though, I think Arizona is the defense to go with. I know Tampa has been playing a little bit better on defense, but Arizona has got like the dream matchups. I think maybe the best way to say it is this. I think you still take it on a week-by-week basis, right? Because when you think New England and Carolina, you're like, ooh, those are some really, really good matchups for the defense. Carolina, we all know that Carolina has been playing a lot better recently. So I think you take it week by week still. Arizona against New England this week, I think is going to be a nice matchup. After that, I think it's long answer shortened. Take it week by week. Still take it week by week. I tried to do the same thing where I'm like, you know what, look ahead for the rest of the season. I'm like, Arizona, it's coming back to bite me now. So I just take it week by week. Jason on YouTube, Jalen Hurts or Jaden Daniels. I'm going to say Jaden Daniels on that one. Just because I like the matchup. I shouldn't say I like the matchup more. Jalen Hurts going up against Pittsburgh is still a tough matchup, but I think Daniels is the play there. Sorry, just answered that one. NTT on YouTube, I have Kraft and Odd, and I can pick up Henry and Ferguson. What two tight ends do I get, and who do I start? I think the tight ends. Jason, you're welcome. Back to this real quick. Man. Kraft and Otten, I can pick up Henry and Ferguson. What two tight ends? I don't necessarily think you need to have two tight ends, to be completely honest, just because it's just going to change week to week. I think the tight end that you start this week, though, is... Oh, man. Oh, gosh, Tucker Kraft. I feel like Seattle against tight ends over the last month, they're middle of the pack. They are allowing a lot of yards. I think you could do Tucker Kraft, but if it's not Kraft, it's Hunter Henry then for me. I think it's Kraft and Hunter Henry. I think those are the two tight ends that if you want to roster two, I think those are the two that I would want to keep then. But I personally would just go one tight end. Baseball shorts. Aaron Jones, Khalil Shakir, Calvin Ridley, or JT and half PPR, asking for a friend. That one is Aaron Jones. That one's Aaron Jones for me. DK, Mooney, or Waddle. Boy, man, another question that just explains fantasy football this year. At the beginning of the year, this is 1000% DK Metcalf, but how it's been recently, not great. I think it's still DK. I think I would still go DK on that one. Colin, choose three: Jefferson, Neighbors, Mooney, or Metcalf. Jefferson for sure. Neighbors, Metcalf. Slick Rip the Ruler on YouTube and half PPR need one flex and one receiver. Jalen Warren, Sincere McCormick, Elijah Moore, Xavier Worthy, Quinn Johnson. We need a receiver. Probably Elijah Moore to be, probably Elijah Moore. For your flex, Sincere McCormick. Sincere McCormick. There we go. Nate on YouTube pick 2 a receiver, AJ Brown, Nico Collins, Tyreek, or Malik Neighbors. You're gonna go with AJ Brown, and you're gonna go Nico Collins. Those are the two that you're gonna go with there. Pick one between Drake London, Charbonnet, or JSN. Oh boy, that one is a doozy. That's a good problem to have. Maybe that's the best way to say it. That's a really good problem to have. Between I should say I shouldn't say we have JSN ranked higher than Drake London this week. So it's a matter of Zach Charbonnet, right? With no Kenneth Walker, but going up against Green Bay, which Green Bay's run defense, it's been stingy. Golly. That's a tough one. That's really tough. You're stumping me with this one. I'm probably going to go JSN. Let's see. Jose on Facebook, Shakir or Charbonnet in the flex. You're going to go Charbonnet on that one. Charbonnet for sure. Mackinac on YouTube, non-PPR, Pacheco, Thielen, or Flowers in the flex. I'm probably going to say Flowers. It's really between him and Thielen. Pacheco's got to score. That's the thing. If he scores, because the intrigue or the reason for going a receiver and non-PPR is the yards. So I'm gonna say Flowers. Fortnite, if Vlad McConkey doesn't play, which he should, I will say that right off the rip, he should play. Who do I start between Judy or Thielen? I'm probably gonna go Thielen. Tight end Kate Honor, Zach Ertz, probably Zach Ertz. A receiver that I'm starting, Garrett Puka and Ladd, QB Tua, running backs Gibbs and Pollard. If Ladd doesn't play, which personally I think you stick with Ladd. But if for some reason we need to find a pivot really quick, I would say go Thielen then. Cam, okay, let me paint the context for y'all. Cam has a very important Dynasty matchup this week, and he can't decide between Breece Hall and Jonathan Taylor. And I will give him the advice to help him win the matchup. It's Breece Hall. Jonathan Taylor against Denver's run defense is just a nightmare waiting to happen. It's a nightmare. Go Breece. He gets Jacksonville, dude. David on YouTube, start one at receiver and one at the flex. James Conner, Malik Neighbors, AJ Brown, Thielen, Downs, Higgins, or Charbonnet. Boy. Oh man. Fortnite, thank you. See you next week, buddy. Man. Receiver and one at the flex. James Conner, Neighbors. Okay, I can for sure rule out Downs. I can for sure rule out Neighbors. It's just based on who's on the list. I'm probably going to rule out Thielen. Yeah, I would rule out. So Downs, Thielen, and Neighbors. And now we're looking at Connor, AJ Brown, Higgins, and Charbonnet. I think you start AJ Brown at your receiver. Then at your flex, between Charbonnet, James Conner, and T. Higgins. Man, that's tough. Connor against New England. New England's right. Charbonnet in your flex. You're going to start AJ Brown at your receiver, and you're going to Charbonnet in your flex. If you don't like Charbonnet at your flex, I would go T. Higgins then. Frederick on Facebook, need a running back in a flex in full PPR. Achane, Chase Brown, CD, and Higgins. Start Achane and Chase Brown. Those are the two for sure. For sure. Nate on YouTube at the flex, Derrick Henry or Tyreek Hill. Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry going up against the Giants. Dude might run for like 300 yards today. Luke on YouTube, Bucky Irving or Rachaad White. I might lean Rachaad White on that one just because I don't want to take the injury chance on Bucky Irving. JT, Kyler Murray or Bo Nix. Man, it's close. I still say Bo Nix. Frederick, see you next week. Thanks a lot, of course. Happy to help. We'll see you next week. Cousin Bros for life. Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, or Caleb Williams. That one. Drum roll, please. Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold. Anas on YouTube. CJ Stroud or Patrick Mahomes. Oh man, that boy. For the last month, Miami has logged a ton of yards. I'm gonna say Stroud. It doesn't feel right. I'm gonna say Stroud. Davi, thank you so much for tuning in every week. I know you do. I appreciate you tuning in every week. We'll see you next week. Beza, are you in Sofa Score? Actually, I'm not. I don't actually know what Sofa Score is. So now you've piqued my curiosity. To now see like, who do I look like? Anyway, let's get back to it. Mackinac, second question, Love or Justin Herbert? For me, that's going to be a Justin Herbert one for me. That's a Justin Herbert one. Drizzle on YouTube, Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall. I'm going to say Garrett Wilson on that one. JT, Jacoby Myers or Zay Flowers. Thanks for everything. We'll see you next week. That is going to be a Zay Flowers one for me. I just have zero confidence with what's his name? Desmond Ridder. Got zero faith in it. Nate at the flex, Jacobs or Tyreek. You're going to go Josh Jacobs on that one. Should I start McBride? Sorry. Or Ferguson at tight end. You're going to go Trey McBride for sure. For sure. Cook or Bucky Irving this week. I'm going to go James Cook. If you've got a piece in that Buffalo-Detroit game and they're borderline startable, I would start them. So James Cook is a start. Khalil Shakir is a start in most scenarios. Mackinac, appreciate your help. See you next week. You are very welcome to tour. Matthew on Facebook, start 2.5 PPR CD, DJ Moore, London, Garrett Wilson. I started Jennings on Thursday. Oof, that is rough. So because you started Juwan Jennings, we need to shoot for upside, right? We need guys that can give us a 20-point week. And to be honest, those two guys are Drake London and Garrett Wilson. Those are the two guys. And so in the weirdest way, CeeDee Lamb might be at the bottom of that list because of you starting Jennings, which I'm not saying that was a bad start at all. Most people did because no one knew about I shouldn't say torrential downpour, but showers in that game. You're going to go London and Garrett Wilson just because they can give you the most upside this week. CB3 on YouTube, Devontae Adams or Ladd. That's a Devontae Adams one for me. Nick on Facebook, Monty or Brian Robinson in the flex. I'm already playing Gibbs as well. Well, good. You should definitely definitely keep Gibbs in. Probably gonna go Brian Robinson. Still even on projected points. Now that's interesting. That is interesting. You're even on projected points, even with Jawan Jennings. So doesn't really need to be all upside then. I mean, let me pull up these options again. Still even on projected points. CD, DJ Moore, London, Garrett Wilson started Jennings. I think Drake London is still a for sure start. That one's pretty much locked in for me. But then, between Garrett Wilson and DJ Moore, I would probably go CD in London then. Just because you don't need to like rack up the points to like make up ground. I think it's CD in Drake London then. JT, sorry, one more. Pick one between Jacoby Myers, Calvin Ridley, and DeAndre Hopkins. It's Calvin Ridley for me. I don't really that's the best way to say it. I'm not wanting to wait until later today to find out if it's going to be Desmond Ridder or Aiden O'Connell, because that offense doesn't interest me enough. I would say Calvin Ridley, JT. Luke on YouTube, Chase Brown or Scary Terry. That's a Chase Brown one. Terry, I'm a big fan of Terry this week, but Chase Brown has been, that's been awesome. Matthew, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Of course, anytime. Taco is good. Taco is great. Jameson Williams or Amari Cooper in the flex and full PPR. Interesting, because I literally just said, like, not 5 minutes ago, if you've got a guy that's borderline startable in this game, you should start him. And both of these guys are borderline startable. I'm gonna go with Jameson on that one. I would go Jameson on that one. Half PPR between Monty and Brian Robinson? Not really. I not between two guys that I think are not. David Montgomery has been getting a little more receiving work, but I don't think it makes up for the 40 yards that you're going to see from David Montgomery. Dylan on Facebook, Shakir or AJ Brown? AJ Brown. AJ Brown. I know it's not been great with AJ Brown recently, but full point PPR, yeah, still. Ben on YouTube, Brees, Aaron Jones, Hubbard, or Pollard. Pick 3, Aaron Jones, Chuba Hubbard, and Brees Hall. Those are the 3. Those are the 3 there. Irving, Neighbors, or Harrison. Boy, man. Probably Neighbors. No, I don't like it. Neighbors. Neighbors is probably the pick there. Michael on Facebook, need to at the running back. You have Bijan. Oh, dude, go Bijan and Saquon. Yeah, go Bijan and Saquon. You could, I shouldn't say you could win your matchup. That would have been the most like outlandish thing I could have said. Luke, Brian Thomas, or Devontae Smith. I'm going to say Brian Thomas Jr. Philly on Facebook, Judy, Brian Thomas, or Marv. I need one. And Smith or Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is for the boys. Between your receivers, though, probably going to go Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah. You could make a case for Marv. I think it's Brian Thomas, though. Dimtree on YouTube, Zay Flowers or Josh Johnson full PPR. I'm going to go with Zay Flowers on that one. Christian on Facebook, Brian Thomas, Neighbors, London McConkey, sit one. If you're going to sit one. Boy, if you're going to sit one, it's between Brian Thomas and Neighbors. I'm probably going to sit Brian Thomas on that one then. Jennifer on Facebook, Jonnu, Smith, Myers or Downs in the flex, and Irving or McCormick. For your flex, you're definitely going to go with Jonnu Smith. Your running back between Bucky Irving and Sincere McCormick. Probably going to go Sincere McCormick. To be complete, I'm going to go Sincere McCormick. Christian, start one. Oh, that makes a difference. You're going to start Drake London then on that one. Actually, that was actually made it a little bit easier now that I think about it. So if you're gonna, starting one, it's Drake London. It is Drake London for sure. Riz Kicks, Brees Hall, or Zach Charbonnet? Zach Charbonnet. In that case, goes Zach Charbonnet. Thomas DeGoat on YouTube, full PPR, JSN or Aaron Jones? JSN. All right, y'all. I got 2 more minutes here, and then I will let you go make these changes into your lineups. Let me just shameless plug real quick, Jennifer. Thank you you are very welcome. If you are not following us, if you are not subscribed to us wherever you're watching from, make sure that you are, right? We do these every single week. We post content throughout the week. We have our shorts channel on YouTube as well. If you just want a minute worth of info for your decision making for the week, follow us over there. Once the season is done, once the fantasy season is done, we are not done. We will continue to post NFL football stuff. We do a ton of draft stuff, a ton of dynasty stuff as well. So make sure that you are following and subscribe to us as we go throughout the offseason as well. We will give you tips and pointers, what we think about free agency moves, head coaches, everything football you will still find on our channel. So make sure you're following us. So Riz Kicks, do I risk Lad? Lad is on schedule to play, if that makes sense. I don't think there's much risk with Lad, if that makes sense. And in a sense of like, should I play him or not? Is he going to play or not? He's going to play. Tyler on Facebook, White, Evans, or McLaurin, please help. For me, that is going to be a Terry McLaurin. I know that Evans matchup against the Chargers just pushes Terry ahead of him for me. Bikes and More on YouTube, Goff, Herbert, or Nix. That's a Bo Nix one for sure. Matthew JSN, Dwayne Morris. Yes. Where was it? I thought I saw it somewhere. There it is. Yes. JSN or James Cook in the flex for Dwayne. Yes. JSN for sure. Should I start Ladd or Devontae Adams? In this case, you go Devontae Adams. Ladd should play, but you're going to go Devontae Adams. You're going to go Devontae Adams there. Casey on Facebook, T. Higgins or DJ Moore. For me, that's a T. Higgins one. Cody on Facebook, DeAndre Swift or Cortland Sutton, half PPR, Cortland Sutton for sure. Tyler, thank you. Great name, by the way. Love the name. You are welcome. Cup Edits, Keon Coleman, Zay Flowers, or Jaden Reed. For me, that's a Zay Flowers one. And the last one for today from Bikes and More, Monty or Terry in the flex. That, my friends, is going to be Terry for sure. Rod, one more on Facebook. Mahomes or Love, please help. I would go Jordan Love. On that one. Christian, one more. Do you think Glad will be a full participant or limited snap count? I think he'll be full. Closer to full than limited. Juan, I'll get you last one. Chase Brown, James Cook, Rico, or Brian Robinson. I need 3 non-PPR. You're going to go Chase Brown. You're going to go Rico Dowdle. You're going to go Brian Robinson. Those are your 3. There. Michael on Facebook, DK or Bucky Irving. You're going to go DK. Logan on YouTube, just want to say we appreciate you, Ty. You the GOAT. Much appreciated. Thank you for the kind words, Logan. Much appreciated. All right, y'all. Best of luck in your matchups this week. Let's pull off a W. Let's keep it moving in the playoffs. Let's avoid the punishments here, right? And again, shameless plug. If you're not following us, all you got to do is just hit follow. We do this every single week. We post content throughout the week as well. Promise we make it entertaining as well. You can check out our podcasts and stuff too. Greatly appreciate all of your support. Big Trust, give me your question. Give me your question, bro. Give me your question, and I will answer it, and then I will log off. Start to AJ Brown, Kamara, or Dowdle. Half PPR projected to be 7 points. I've heard some loss of upside. You're going to go AJ Brown, or you're going to go Rico. You're going to go Rico. You're going to go AJ Brown, or you're going to go Alvin Kamara. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Philly. Good to see you again, as always. Ricardo, great info, as always. Of course. That's what I'm talking about. Smashing the follow button. That is what I'm talking about. Big Trust. Give me your question, bro. Give me your question. Big Trust. Whoop, whoop. There it is. Tyreek or Neighbors, Auden or Jonnu. You're going to go Jonnu Smith, and then you're going to go with Tyreek Hill over Neighbors. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you next week. And again, make sure you're following us. Make sure you're following us so you don't miss our content during the week and that you won't have to wait a whole week to see our beautiful, beautiful faces. So best of luck. We'll see you next week.